This is Melissa here today on Overhauled. Today I have Ivy, and she works at Caterpillar. She's super cool. Well, I woke up all dizzy. I've had a couple instances throughout my life of epilepsy where I will just pass out and have a seizure and then wake up. It's kind of rare and it hasn't happened in a long time, but I've had an issue with that ever since I turned 18, actually. Um, so I thought it was like it could have been one of those. I don't know, but he tried to catch me, and he smacked his face on the vise. So like now we both technically should probably get stitches, and we're both bleeding, and we're both like it's not worth dealing with Rob. So we're not gonna do. Fuck it, we'll be fine.
As I have a few like older dudes in the shop that are like practically my dads. Like if I couldn't do something, they'd come over and help. Well, I was trying to manhandle this fucking skid steer track back onto it. Found out later that the fucking nut that's in the back of those, was it the recoil spring that's in there? The nut had backed off, and so it was constantly tensioned. So we're like sitting fighting it back and forth, and it's just a regular like rubber track tire. I've done it a billion times, just a crowbar, and you could pop it on.
Yep.
But this fucker's being an ass, and it's kind of worn, so like where it normally had rubber on the teeth in there, it doesn't have rubber anymore. It's like sharpened to a point, and we're fighting. And I was there, and my work dad practically came over. His name was Carl. It was perfect. But he's sitting over, he's pulling on it. I'm prying on it, and I'm like, Carl, this ain't going anywhere. And he was like, oh fuck, here, let me get readjusted. We'll go at it again. And so I'm pulling on it like everything I got, and I fucking slip off. That crowbar loses everything. I slip off, land on my ass, like tailbone fucked. I'm like, God damn. Carl's like, oh shit, let me help you. And he fucking slips off of where he was at, because there's fucking oil and hydraulic oil all over the place. It was like a final drive swap out or whatever. And he slips and he fucking cuts his hand on the track, and we were like, fuck, now we're both fucked. It's like, shit, okay, let me see if I'm fucked. And I get up and I stand up. I'm like, okay, nothing's broken. How's your shit? And he's like looking at it. It's not that bad. It's like just enough to like look like it's terrible, because it was a sharp edge and it's like everywhere. And we're like, oh, fuck. Well, he goes over, and like I'm one for like brake cleaning and like freaking the fuck out and then calling it good. And he's one for like brake clean and alcohol wipes and then brake clean again. I'm like, whew. So he's sitting there and he's doing that, and I'm like fucking wincing because I know how that shit feels. And I'm like, God damn. And he's like, he made me hold his hand closed while he new skinned it like 3 times so it hold. And I was like, okay, well, fuck, let's look into that a little more, and found the fucking nut backed off of it and then fucking popped. I was like, great, okay, well, that was worth nothing. Nice. It's like, all the fucking cuts and shit. They were like, well, you could have worn gloves. Yeah.
That's not gonna fuck you. Yeah, but if you wear the bulky gloves, that's like annoying. And the little latex gloves, like when I fucking got my hand caught in that fucking clamp, guess what? I was wearing gloves. Guess what? When I sliced my fucking thumb open, trying to cut that filter open, guess what? I was wearing gloves.
Yeah, don't fucking help. I was like, and they're like, well, just wear a glove. I'm like, fuck, a glove? Like, what do you want? Nitrile, the latex ones? Like, I'll wear those, but like, you pick up something and they're ripped, and you're like, great, that was.
Where you rip them trying to put them on.
Yeah. Oh, the fucking band around the bottom, you'll go to pull it, and it's like, okay, well, that's about to come off in like 4 minutes. Great.
I love those gloves. I have eczema, so I wore the fuck out of those gloves a lot, but they are in the summertime. It is really fucking annoying because you're sweating, and then it like obviously doesn't breathe.
Mm. Yeah, we did. I was working on one of those def clean outs, and it was so bad that when you shot the pig, it's like a little sponge piece, we call them pigs. When you shot it through the line, it would come out like spaghetti, like it would just like gel that bad. And so the latex was cutting too quick, and so I was like, okay, well, I was wearing chemical gloves, and it was middle of freaking summer before we had AC in our shop, big cement box of a shop, and it was 105 with 80% humidity wearing chemical gloves. I like took them off and dumped them out like every hour. I was like, God.
Yep. Where do you live?
I live in Oklahoma, just south of Oklahoma City. In like Oklahoma City, you have all the shit storm of like heat and wind and humidity. It's like living in Louisiana, but Oklahoma, you know? Like,
Yeah.
man, it sucks ass.
I got to experience my first summer working in humidity when I moved to Indiana. Because I'm from Wyoming, and I've lived in Wyoming and northern Colorado for pretty much for my entire life until I moved to Indiana. And the first summer I worked here, it like I'm looking at the temperatures and it says, oh, it's supposed to be 90 degrees. I'm like, oh, I mean, that's gonna suck, but like that's doable. It'll be fine, right? We got shade in the shop. Yeah, I was not expecting it to be like 110 with humidity. I could feel the sweat running down my back all day. I'm like, this is fucking gross. I fucking hate this. I stopped wearing my work shirt and I started wearing just t-shirts or like cut off tank tops and shit because like t-shirts that were cut, like the sleeves cut off, because I didn't want to like wear like this to the shop. But I started wearing that shit instead because I'm like, dude, I can't, like, I'm from Wyoming, dude. I can't fucking handle this. I'm gonna die. I don't know how the guy that's like 300 pounds is not fucking dying. I don't know. I don't get it. How the fuck are they not dying? I'm dying. So, yeah, the humidity is like a whole nother game.
Fuck, I moved from Alaska and it's like dry as hell and cold as shit. And it's like, I moved down here and like the hottest it got up was 80 up there. First fucking summer I'm down here, 105 for like 3 weeks. And it was 80% humidity. And it was like, before that, it was 70 degrees. And I was like, holy fuck, man, it's hot. What the hell? Sweating bullets. And they're like, you don't even know. You don't know how bad it gets. I'm like, what? Excuse me? It's like, I'm working on open cab machines and none of them are AC problems, obviously. So what the fuck are you about to say? Fuck.
Yep. Alaska's so cool. I'm so jealous that you're from Alaska. I've watched every single season of Gold Rush. I love Alaska. I've not watched The Last Frontier or the what is it called? Like, what's the show, like the almost reality TV show thing in Alaska with where they like videotape people that are living? What's that called?
And they're like fishers or whatever, and they look like super out there. And like I've been to Homer. That's where like the Time Bandit, the crabbing boat goes and stuff. I've gone to Homer, and you can take a 15-minute boat ride from where like the tourist destination of Alaska is to where they're at, where they film. And I'm like, they talk and they're like, well, if we don't get this next harvest, we don't have any food for the winter. And you're like, bullshit. Go to Walmart.
Well, I've always thought that was bullshit anyways, because your guys' winters are insanely fucking long. So the prep work that they would have to do to actually have enough food to last through the winter is like, it's not going to be possible with what they're doing. Like, I always thought that. I'm like, I don't really think that's real.
Yeah, and like you were talking about the winterized, the diesel and stuff.
Yeah.
Oklahoma, we had that ice storm that came through, and it's like we have no winter diesel. It had everything solid. We had to go out there, run the machine for like, I don't know, 15 to 30 seconds to try to get it into the shop, and it was just like eating the fucking any liquid fuel you had, and it was like, fuck. But my brother, he lives in Fairbanks, and it's like the two extremes. It gets really hot in the summer, like 100 degrees, and then I was up there one year, it was negative 57 for like a week straight. And I was like, holy fuck, the diesel, if you didn't add more additive into it, it would also like plug up. And I was like, God damn. He works at a gold mine up there too, so it was pretty cool. They use all Cat equipment, and like it's a huge surface mine, and they have like, you can see at one point of the mine where it's like they started to build up the environment again. Like they've had new dirt put there, and they've planted trees and shit. So it's super dope seeing like the mining side of it have like all this destruction, I guess, and like all this industrial side of it. And then like there's a pretty little garden growing tomatoes over here, and you're like, what the fuck?
Don't they have to do that? Isn't that like a regulation? Yeah, I think I remember that from Gold Rush, because they had to like reclaim their old mining areas for shit like that. Do they run that mine in the wintertime?
Yeah, so the
Yeah.
mine that my brother works at, he works at, I think it's called Fort Knox up there. Sounds badass as hell because it looks cool. Like I went there as a visit, and like it is acres and acres, like hundreds of acres, huge freaking mine, and they're opening up more spots of it. But it's like they have, I think they were saying that they have $100 million set aside a year for like reclaiming the area, and like everything has its spot and everything. Like I wasn't allowed to go into any of the mechanic areas because next to that they have all the gold like refining areas, and that's like super top secret. And I was like, do they have guns in there? I'm like, if I go like in there, are they gonna shoot me? Like I just want to see.
Right? Right? Curiosity.
Yeah, badass. But
How do they like get through the tundra and shit in the winter? Like the frozen ground.
I they have a cool system. My sister-in-law, she likes going and visiting that area a whole lot. But they have this cool system where they stack, after they get the chunks out of the dirt, they stack it all on these huge hills. And during the wintertime, a lot of what they get, if they don't break out their machines, because they've curled buckets just working them so hard. But they have these huge hills, and they have like you know the in gardens and stuff how they have the hoses with little holes poked in them.
Yeah.
It's like for watering and stuff. Well,
Yeah.
this setup, it has levels to it, and it has those kind of hoses, and they leak a chemical through the dirt, and it catches at the very bottom where they have like a tank or like a basket where all the dirt sits, and it collects and it goes down through these pipes, and they get the gold out of the chemicals and stuff. So they make like thousands of dollars like a minute, if not like a second, just by
Damn.
getting it out of the hills and then like breaking all their stuff there. I think
That's crazy.
they have a badass fucking dealership up there that has like field mechanics that just stay there just to fix shit.
Oh, I bet that mine fucking pretty much pays the wage of like 2 or 3 field mechanics.
Yeah, it's like god damn. They're like, just leave them here if they're not working. Like they'll work on something soon.
Yep.
We had a couple quarries and shit that did that with like specific John Deere, like field mechanics and shit like that. But John Deere's not like, they don't build equipment that big. Like they can do some quarry stuff and some mine stuff as Deere and shit like that, but for the most part, like it's smaller operations because their 944 like loader is not even. I'm trying to think of the cat model that it's. I don't know cat models because the 988 is the big motherfucker, right?
Yeah, 990 is just about the biggest one we have, and then we
It's
go all
like,
the way down to 905, maybe even smaller, 903 or something.
The 944, I think, is like the size of maybe your guys' fourth largest, like, and that's the biggest loader that they make, and then maybe like fifth largest because you guys have some fucking giant mining shit, but yeah. I mean, the 944 is a pretty decent sized machine. Don't get me wrong, it's a decent sized machine, but like it's not like Caterpillar shit or Komatsu makes big shit. Like our 1050 dozer is like, I think the size of like a D9. It's our biggest dozer, and then
Fucking big, like those, like our D11.
yeah, dude, you guys just get your blades are like the size of my house.
The cab looks so small on the rest of the machine. I was like, god damn.
Komatsu makes a giant fucking dozer. I don't know how much of Gold Rush you've seen, but one season one of the mines had like the biggest Komatsu dozer that you could buy, and that thing was fucking ginormous. Like it made a D11 look small. Like it was fucking huge. It was bigger than the cat. It was cool as fuck. But I don't remember what the fuck it was. But they had a D11 there that they were working with that Komatsu. It's kind of cool.
No, I was making fun of Komatsu earlier. We were driving through the city, and like they have so many like caterpillar and deer and everything, and then you'd see the one Komatsu, and I was like, we go hunting all the time, like in Oklahoma. You go hunting deer all the time, and you go hunt bobcats, but nobody's going out and hunting Komatsu. I'm like, what the hell? But they have huge stuff. Like I looked at, I think at the mine that my brother worked at, they only run like 777s, and they're freaking ridiculous. Oh no, 797s, just freaking huge. And I was standing next to one, and like, you have the rim, and then you have the tire. My height didn't even hit the rim. Like, that's how big the
so
freaking
cool.
like
So
that.
cool.
It's like, that thing moves. Holy shit.
Right?
That's fucking. I love shit like that. When I first started working at job, I grew up around logging equipment, so it's not like I didn't, I was fresh and new to equipment. But when I first started working at Deere, the particular dealership was also a Grove and Manitowoc dealership. So they had like the Grove cranes and national like boom trucks and shit like that. Their Grove RT cranes and shit can get pretty fucking big. And I wasn't even working on a big one. I was working on actually looking back at it, it was actually like one of the smaller ones. And I just thought I could walk underneath it. I'm like, oh my god, this is the coolest fucking thing ever. I was so fucking excited because I worked on the crane side for the first 4 months that I worked at that dealership. And I thought it was the greatest thing ever. I thought it was so fucking cool. I'm like, everything about this is cool. I love this.
Yeah, oh my gosh, I want to do this. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And then they put me on the Deere side, which I was fine with because then I got to go play in the dirt with all the equipment, which is pretty cool. Which is way better. That's the only problem with cranes. Because that's literally when you gotta test those things, it is sketchy as fuck. Especially in Wyoming and Colorado where it's fucking windy. A not windy day is 20-mile-an-hour winds. That's a breeze. So, and you're trying to put a crane 150 feet in the air, right? That's fucking sketchy. But, yeah, no thanks. Yeah, I didn't, I never tested, fully tested out or did an annual inspection like that on an RT, crawler cranes or anything like that. I only did those on boom trucks, but it was the people that did them, yeah, no thanks. So, the cranes were really cool to work on, but testing them was yeah, no thanks. For the Deere equipment, it's at least I could go and track the excavator on top of the dirt pile, and I can sit there and dig for an hour and have fun.
Yeah, and I tested it. Yeah, yeah. I'd go test during the summertime. Go test the AC for 30 minutes. I'd be like, yep, it's going good. Just making sure it's not gonna crap out or whatever. I had going up in the air really bad. Man lifts. Holy shit! I hate testing man.
Nope.
100-foot. We had one that would crap out after it got past a certain degree going straight up, and we had to test it all the way extended, all the way up, and then retract it when it was all the way up just to verify. Yep. Oh, you could feel the wind in whenever you moved, when you drove, you could feel the whole thing shake. If this thing falls, I'm gone. There is no way I'm gonna
Right, I'm gonna die. I'm just gonna die.
It's you just gotta commit, and you're yep, this harness is gonna hold me up here just fine, no problems. If it stops moving and I fall off, oh well, oops.
Yeah, I was offered because I got certified for inspecting mobile cranes, which means anything from a boom truck all the way up to the giant crawler cranes. Anything that's mobile. I was certified to inspect, and so I did a lot of inspections for United Rentals for their shit. And one time they asked for a man lift inspection, and I told my boss to go fuck himself because I'm not doing that. I told him there's not a lot of jobs that I'm gonna deny because I don't want to be that person that's I'm too good for this, right? I'm never gonna be that person. You want to give me an oil change? That's cool. You want to give me an engine job, an engine rebuild? That's cool. You want to give me crane boom sections to remove and replace? Cool with that. Whatever. But I ain't fucking going up in a man lift to do an inspection. I'm sorry. That's not gonna fucking happen. Nope. You can find someone else for that.
Good luck. Yep. You're gonna have to pay me hazard pay times 4. Okay. I don't get. No thanks. Like goddamn. Nah, I had a brother that worked on like kitchen shit, and there was a problem with like a leaking fryer. He was like, "Oh well, you could just like do it while it's hot, don't worry." And he was like, "No, you're gonna have to pay me like 3 times hazard pay." Oh, okay, well sure. It's like, man, I wish I could do that for shit at the work, because I work on like, we had a waste connections come in, and it was a loader, and it was a little bitty loader. Like it could lift like a small pallet box, but that was its max. Well, its only job in the whole waste management was to go out into the sewage piles and stir the sewage and then drive back. Well, like the hydraulics or something exploded on it in the middle of the pool. And my buddy of mine, he had to go out there and get it. And I was like, nope, no, I don't want it. I don't want to touch it. Don't even, you're gonna, like at one point I had, was it that Fabuloso floor cleaner? And I was like dumping it on. I'm like, nope, it's got to smell like lavender and daisies before I touch it. I was like, ugh.